I just wanted to talk about this Trump situation and the freedom of the internet and all where we are going. So, for now, as species, I think we become already a cyborg, a mini cyborg.
Yeah.
That means we cannot live without our phone and our computer. So those stuffs becomes a part of us,
Yeah.
an extension of ourselves. So the way they are going now with all those big tech company of transforming their ideology they had in the beginning and what they are doing now, it's very, very risky. It's a little bit dictatorship. It's like you don't have to think like that. If you think like that, you are out. But if we go back in the beginning of the creation of the internet, it was the goal was the internet shall be freely. And self Google, they are using Linux, the platform Linux, the source code Linux is a free open source
Yeah.
of creating so people can innovate and become big. So I think the way we are going, it's very dangerous for ourselves as species and as human beings. So who know the real what happened that it was a plot from the CIA because the capital is the most secure building in the world also. How does it happen those people can only access it so easily?
It
Well,
there's
that's
a
a
lot of
question mark.
truth. There's a lot of truth to what you're saying, but and listen, we I've seen firsthand what the CIA can do in other countries. But the thing is this: the problem of what social media created, and a reason why I I reduce my consumption of social media, and even when I post, I don't care so much anymore about how many likes and how many comments I have. I just watch as and I took a little bit of distance, emotional distance to the posting is because the fact that we are all connected, instead of creating more sharing of information, it did, but instead of only creating more sharing of information and more more brotherhood and fraternity and exchange and annihilating racism and etc., it actually did the contrary. There's more silos and more canceling and more people became, you know, we are four people. We are four intelligent people having a conversation about a subject and having different opinions about it and having a conversation about it in a civil manner. But online, you're gonna have, you're gonna say something like, you want, for example, to create a destruction on Twitter, just say, I still listen to R. Kelly because I grew up on these songs, and I mean, I understand. Like, you can see that, and you don't finish your sentence. They all arrive. Ah, how can you do that? What about your sister? What about your daughter? What about cancel? And you're like, I understand your point of view, but can you understand? No, no, no. And the the way the internet was a far west back in the days where everything was free, the web 1.0, I was there. I started using the internet in the 90s. I remember when a website was 10k, 10 kilobytes. I remember, like, I had Kaysha.com exists since 96. So And before that, I already had a website. So I've been on GeoCities, I've been on MySpace, I've been on ICQ, I've been on MSN. I've been in all those platforms watching porn since the beginning of times. So I, at a point, you realize that instead of creating a world where everybody is in a kind of a brotherhood, like we all thought, us the pioneers, we created a world of chaos and of antagonism where people, and from the beginning of the internet, you had flame wars on, I remember on the message boards where you used to go to exchange opinions. People were already not able to express their opinions without insulting each other. Because I don't know, the fact that you listen, you come to me in the street and you talk to me the way you talk to me on Twitter, here, this is where this arrives and knocks you out. Mbata, ba! And on the internet, because people are far, they just forgot to talk with education, or maybe they don't have education. Me, I don't talk to a stranger. I'm not gonna start my conversation with somebody that I don't know by listen, you stupid idiot. Why? Like why? Because you disagree? And this is where all these platforms, when they become gigantic monsters, because when I started using Twitter, we were 500,000 people. And we were like, there was no at. We were talking to each other in a way, and then the platform evolved because of the way we used it. We started using hashtags, but you could not click on hashtags. We started using at to talk to somebody, and I remember back at those days, Jack, they used to follow each of us because it was a small community of people saying, yeah, I'm going to get my coffee. And then when people are starting to have conversation about ideas, then you could have a civil conversation. But when it becomes millions of strangers, you will say something like, I remember, like I told this story before. I go to 10 different countries and I see always one club where all the women are in Africa, all the women are prostitutes. You can see it. And all the guys are white. And you're like, oh, okay, it's strange. Every country I go, there's a club like this. Okay, I mean, yeah, it's offer and demand, client, business. Okay, but then you post it on Facebook. I said, oh, it's strange. But in every country that I've been in Africa, there's always a club that is called Manhattan or with a name like this. And there you have a lot of white expats and black prostitutes. And it's not, you're not saying this because you want to create a problem. You are saying this as an observation of something that you have witnessed because you travel all around the world. And I post this before taking my plane. And when I land, I have 800 notifications. And I'm like, what is going on? And I got people posting photos of my CDs in the trash. You fucking racist, da da da. Why? How you can say that? And then you have also the black people who are saying like, yo, are you insulting your sisters? Are you saying that? And you're like, hey, I'm just telling you what I saw with my eyes. Have you ever left France? No, I never left. But so why are you talking to me? You never left your country and you are here. I'm telling you what I saw. I just took a plane. I just made a tour of 2 months. I went into 15 countries, and in all countries, I've been in a club like this. And how I'm telling you what I'm seeing, and because you don't want it to be true, you want to cancel me. You're like, oh, fuck you, fuck your music. I will never listen to your music again. And then you release your next album, and all these people are here. Oh, I just bought the album. I love it so much. Oh, I use it to. And that's when I was like, okay, these places, and I'm talking about this is 2010. And then I'm like, oh, this place is becoming toxic. And what does make the place toxic? Is it the place itself because of the algorithms? Is it the people? Or is it both?
A bit of both, a bit of all, because remember, people are taking advantage of the anonymity. They're hiding behind the screen. So they can put any picture they want, which can be anyone or even themselves. But like I usually say, they don't care and they don't know that they have a brand to protect. Because like when I was doing my discussions in Twitter, I used to remember I was telling people, hey, listen, there was a tool, I don't know if it's still there, where I can go and read really, really old posts from these people. And then bringing that out, especially politicians. Hey, you said this 5 years ago, and this now what you're saying, and these kind of things. And people will always like try to, insult and all that, and they usually insult when they don't have an argument, when they don't know what to say, and that's when they choose the insult so that they can end the discussion right there.
Yeah.
But I think now with tools like this, Ecam Live, like even the StreamYard, where people can start showing their face, maybe it may change because then it's more fast, especially it's a live. Because on a Twitter, I mean, it can be your name, but it's one of your people doing your job for you, posting on your behalf. You can always say for a public person and say, oh, by the way, it was not me, it was one of my assistants handling my account. And by the way, I fired them. Who would know?
Yeah.
But now on the live, it's really difficult because it's your face and they know the face. That Tony, okay. That Master Electronic, so we know the guy. So if he says something, next thing, you know what? Somebody already taken a screen capture of this. It's publishing it somewhere. And
in 5 years, in 5 years, you want to run for president. It's like, you remember on Club Shada where you were saying that, blah, 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 blah.
Just a compliment of what Joel just said. And Kaysha, you said it, we're in a place where contents matter. And somebody told me that there is something very deep about creation, right? Because taking something from your brain and then allowing it to take life and have meaning into somebody else's perception is a strength, right? So there is power in creation, right? So when you do something, you inject a lot of power. But I'm gonna take the flip side. There is power in destruction too, right? Which is some people cannot create. But they can become just as relevant by destroying what has been created, right? Because it's almost as if you take the energy of creating and you appropriating it by destroying, right? So you cannot cancel something that is not good. The biggest success of a canceller is to basically go and take something that has reached a certain height of appreciation so that you can get the benefit of emptying all that, right? So it's like the yin and the yang, right?